fact, we are going to next talk about the National Football Conference of the National Football League. But before we do that, I want to talk about my friends at Livia Weight Control Centers who have helped me drop 40 pounds and most importantly, keep that weight off. Look, here's the thing. It's weight control. It's not a diet, okay? So it's not a fad diet. You're not going on a diet that's going to let you down. You're going on a weight control program that's going to first of all, fairly, I think, not just effectively, but easily take the weight off and then keep that weight off. So all those clothes in your closet that fit again continue to fit. First 8 weeks for free. And with the new program, look, you can eat your favorite foods. This includes bread. This includes things that they are now bringing in to the plan. You're going to love it. 855-GO-LIVEA, Livia, LIVEA.com to achieve the weight loss that you are looking for, and most importantly, to continue at Livia.com. Declan?
All right, yeah, before we get into this top 5 pecking order in the NFC, a shout out to our friends at Underdog Fantasy. So I had a nice week in week 3. I had a couple of picks that worked out for the Vikings. Of course, yesterday, Matthew Stafford, who can somehow, I guess, not throw a football anymore, kind of screws me over with a 3-leg parlay. Something's wrong with that elbow, okay? Yeah. Something's wrong with that elbow.
It's screwed up.
And if I'm Matthew Stafford, I don't worry about the elbow. I just go to Underdog Fantasy right now and maybe put some pick'em options in, okay? You can join with promo code SKOR, SKOR. They'll match your first deposit up to $100. If you haven't joined Underdog Fantasy, it's in the description here on the YouTube channel. Go join Underdog Fantasy. Helps us out. It helps them out. It's the best way to play fantasy sports, best way to get a little sweat on Vikings games and other primetime games. Join Underdog Fantasy. Download the Underdog Fantasy app.
Okay, so today... you have suggested that we rank, I believe you said that we each go through the 4 games in NFC, what we have so far as our top 5 teams. I want you to start. I sat down before the game started on Monday Night Dex and came up with what I thought was a pretty definitive 5 teams. And then I watched the Niners play. And I'm going to tell you right now, as bad as they looked against the Broncos and as bad as Jimmy G looked, and they looked terrible a week ago Sunday night, I was pretty impressed with what I saw in Santa Clara last night. So that definitely changed how I have my top 5 teams in the conference ranked. But you go first. Tell me what you have. I am guessing that the Vikings are in your top 5. I'm more curious about where they fall.
Yeah, so let's just do this, Jed. I think we both know that the Eagles are the best team in the NFC, and we can just know that that's number 1. I know we usually like to climb our way up. Eagles are far and away. They have looked like the best team in the NFC, so there's no spoiler here. There's no drama. Eagles are number 1.
Yep.
But from 2 through 5, I think you and I are probably going to have completely different lists because the parity, even after 5, I mean, you can make a case 2 through 7 right now. There's a spot for one of these teams. So I'll go 2 through 5 after the Eagles in the NFC. Absolutely. So for number 2, call me crazy.
Yep.
I still think it's the Vikings. I still think the Vikings look like the second best team in the NFC right now. Now, the parity is insane, of course. All right, the Bucs look like a mess to me. The Rams are not who they used to be. I'm giving the Vikings the benefit of the doubt because obviously I've watched them more intently through 4 games. And I just think with the way that their stars are starting to maybe build up and that they've gotten off to a 3-1 start, that this team is still has so much more room to grow, that I still think they're the second best team in the NFC. You can make a case for any of the other teams that are on this list. But for me, I had the Vikings as the number 2 team in the NFC right now.
Okay. Keep going.
Number 3, the Green Bay Packers. I have vaulted the Packers up a little bit here. I think Aaron Rodgers, in classic Packer fashion, they got off to a rough start in week 1. They have rebounded. I understand Bailey Zapp almost threw a dagger to them in Lambeau last week, but there's no moral victories here. The Packers still won a game that they should have won. I still think that defense, although their run defense is a little leaky, it's better than the Vikings D, but their lack of weapons still, I think, is potentially going to hurt them, even with an elite quarterback like Rodgers. But for right now, they're still number 3. They have the same record as the Vikings. Vikings having the tiebreaker here still, but the Packers are 3 in mine. Number 4 might surprise you a little bit because I did not see this happening, but I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt due to their record. I'm putting the Dallas Cowboys on here. I am putting the Cowboys at number 4. I know. By the way, I'm the executive producer at SKOR North. I am not the executive producer at First Take. I understand the Cowboys are on here all the damn time, but I have to give them benefit of the doubt. The Cooper Rush has stepped in here and made things a lot easier. I don't like Mike McCarthy. I still like my guy Kellen Moore. Right. Cooper Rush has stepped in and has guided this team to wins. They've won 3 straight games with him. I have to give them the benefit of the doubt. So I have the Cowboys at number 4.
Okay.
Okay, my 5th team in the NFC, and again, man, I can pick 3 or 4 different teams that could easily make the case for this 5th spot.
Sure.
For right now, for me, it's the Bucs, and man, this still feels like a ticking time bomb to me. Yeah. The Brady situation, their coaching situation, it just seems messy. Now, 2 years ago when they won the Super Bowl, they didn't look great up until December. They still had those leaky personnel issues. There was things going on behind the locker room. They got right by December. They run on to win the Super Bowl. They have Tom bleeping Brady. But at the same time, it seems so murky and it's like it's on thin ice. It is not the same Bucs team that scares me like they used to. I know they finally got all their weapons back. They still didn't look very good against the Chiefs on Sunday Night Football. So I have the Bucs number 5, Judd. So from 1 through 5, I have the Eagles, the Vikings, the Packers, the Cowboys, the Buccaneers.
Oh boy, yeah, we are very different. I am very confused by the Bucs now. The Brady thing just seems off. I don't know with them. I just don't know. And keep in mind too, as I talked about on Unchained with Royce yesterday, it's my opinion that the month of September now has become the National Football League's preseason. It is so hard to read into this because teams morph and they change, and because the exhibition schedule is now down to 3 games in which the smart teams don't play starters. The starters basically get their reps in as far as games go in the month of September. So like this is so preliminary, and I mean, hell, San Francisco at Denver Sunday night a week ago looked awful. Jimmy Garoppolo ran out of the end zone by accident and caused his team a safety. I think the final score was 11-9 or something ridiculous. I don't remember. But the point being is they look terrible. Last night at home, they come back and pretty convincingly beat the Rams. Stafford's elbow, something is wrong there. There's no question about it. And that's going to become a problem. I don't know when Von Jefferson, the wide receiver, is due back, but they definitely miss him. So like there are so many things to be determined here. But yes, I'm with you. It's clear cut that if you were to do an actual list and list like 1, 2, and 3, it's Philadelphia, Philadelphia, Philadelphia. They look great. And I do think because they have the same bye week as the Vikings in a couple weeks, I think that there is a good chance that they go into the bye undefeated. Jalen Hurts looks fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the tough thing, man. This is why in the second round you gamble a little bit on a guy like that, because he now looks like he definitely should have been a first round pick. Justin Fields looks like a guy who probably should have been a second round pick. So yes, my second team going into last night's game between the Rams and Niners was the Rams. I'm gonna leave the Rams there. I'm going to leave them there because I guess I want to see if Stafford's elbow can come back now, because that's going to be a problem if it can't. And there's a chance it can't. But the Rams are defending Super Bowl champions. They still have Aaron Donald. I think if you put the Rams against like the Vikings in a 1-game playoff, the Rams still are favored and win. So I'm going to leave the Rams second. Number 3. And this is what's so tough is the Vikings are 3-1, but Declan, they still have so much room to go. And I guess my question with them is, are they going to do it? Like that's the thing, because I'll tell you 1,000% right now, the Cousins O'Connell thing, I don't think is working as quickly as O'Connell envisioned originally. Right. And there's no guarantee in a month from now, it's going to be like, yeah, Eureka, it all works. So I guess my question is, can the Vikings take what's not currently working as well as they would like? And by the way, they're winning games. And can they extrapolate that to, well, now it's starting to click defensively too? Because I think the Vikings just might not be ultimately as good as we hope defensively, partly because of personnel. Nonetheless, they're 3-1. And again, you call it parity. I call it mediocrity, the highest degree. I'll put the Vikings third. The conference is just not good right now.
Okay.
My fourth team, because I had the Packers fifth. My fourth team, I'm going to say Dallas, but with an asterisk. Because Dak Prescott's coming back, and Dak Prescott ain't being benched when he can play.
Right.
And Cooper Rush has done a really nice job. I've rethought my whole, Cooper Rush beat the Vikings. My God, he sucks. He clearly doesn't suck. He's good.
He doesn't suck, yeah.
But like, does Dak pick up the ball now and run? Does Dak come back and, I don't know. But I'm going to put Dallas fourth. And so my fifth place team is between the Packers and San Francisco. And right now, with Garoppolo back, San Francisco. I'm putting San Francisco fifth. Trey Lance being hurt is unfortunate. Too bad. I hope he recovers fully. I hope he's absolutely fine. That being said, San Francisco and Green Bay to me are both weird teams. But San Francisco, at the end of the day, doesn't have as good a quarterback, clearly, as Aaron Rodgers. But you know what they do have? Deebo Samuel. And they got guys that can make plays. And I don't know that the Packers have the same ability with their playmakers as San Fran does. So for now, I'm going to put them fifth. So I go Philadelphia, the Rams, the Vikings third, which is damn good, and Dallas, and my fifth place team right now is San Francisco. I leave Green Bay out. I like their defense. I just have real questions about what surrounds Rodgers, and I will say I find this to be intriguing. If we take the five teams, both of our five teams, Declan, and we do a smoke and mirrors test, like who do you believe? Like, what have you seen where you're like, okay, that's real? Eagles pass the test for sure right now. Outside of that, a lot of potential smoke and mirror teams that I don't know yet.
Yeah, that's kind of the beauty of the NFL. This is why the NFL reigns supreme. They get us every time. Well, they get us every time with this. This is not a surprise. I don't buy. I'm not buying a large amount of San Francisco stock yet. I don't love the marriage between Jimmy G and Kyle Shanahan, and I think that's going to be a potential issue.
Hired gun now, baby.
I don't mind Jimmy G, but his coach doesn't really believe in him. And I just think that's not a good recipe. Now they've won. At the end of the day, they're winning. They when Jimmy G plays, I know everyone loves QB wins because it's like the most definitive stat in the world. But when Jimmy G plays, that team typically wins. So maybe as it progresses, I'll start buying it more. Right now, I'm in such a wait and see mode. I know they beat the Rams. They have the Rams number basically in the regular season the last 3 years. But I don't. After watching what they did in Sunday Night Football the week before, I still have a lot of questions about that offense, even with Deebo. I mean, what the hell was that? His touchdown yesterday, like, it was incredible. Don't get me wrong, Deebo's a joystick, but the Rams, like if this Rams defense isn't as good as it used to be, the Rams are in serious trouble. Like, Matthew Stafford might take a step back, but their defense should be good. That Rams defense looks awful right now.
Yeah, I think on the play that you're talking about, the long catch and all the yak that Samuel had, there were, 3 egregious missed tackles?
Yeah.
Including
just terrible.
Jalen Ramsey, who in the open field just basically said, yeah, you know what? I'm not doing this one. But I mean, I don't know on Dallas, Declan. I have no idea. I have zero idea on Dallas. Right now, the Vikings. I have no clue, because if they don't progress from where they're currently at, they're probably in trouble, and they very well might, but I don't know. San Fran, you're right about that one. The interesting thing, and this is why I've always said this, Dex, the red zone is such a perfect thing, is because if you are forced to sit down, in my opinion, and watch full games of teams that you are not a fan of. So, like, it's one thing to sit down on Sunday and watch the Vikings. But if you are forced to sit down and watch, or were, the entire Patriots-Packers game, it's garbage. But red zone's great, because what does Scott Hansen do? Scotty takes you around the league. Hey, let's go. There's a scoring opportunity here.
Guys.
There's a play here. Guys, let's go back to that. Let's go to the Octo Box. It's genius, because the one thing that's absolute crap is to be forced to watch teams that you don't care about. that San Fran Rams game last night had a lot of flaws, man. It had a lot of flaws. But yes, what makes the league so fun is, for the most part, games come down to the wire. But I'm also with you a little bit on Tampa. It doesn't feel right.
It's murky. Yep.
It doesn't feel right. And is Brady still officially having marital problems now? Where do you think Stan? I keep seeing memes about it, and I keep seeing, but I mean, like, the whole thing just feels like he basically had said, "I'm done," and then said, "You know what? I really don't want to retire yet." And yeah, the whole thing's a complete mess. All right, we are done. Thanks to Dukes. Again, Phil should be back for tomorrow's show. Mackie and Judd, and also Purple Daily. Declan, what else do we have to clean up before we say goodbye?
Write that down. Predictions tomorrow. So an accountability session. We'll actually have a double dip. We'll have multiple guests. We'll have 2 guests on each Mackie and Judd and Purple Daily. Write that down tomorrow. So a full house and plenty of accountability to be had between you and me and Phil. Some go for football predictions that'll be coming off the board. Yeah. And I think Phil hasn't cleaned this up yet, but we made a lot of Minnesota Twins playoff predictions for 2022. And with the Twins now mathematically eliminated, it might be a bloodbath of predictions that come off the board tomorrow. So stay tuned for how wrong we are twice tomorrow. Mackie Judd, Purple Daily. Hit the subscribe button for daily Minnesota sports entertainment. We'll be back for that accountability session tomorrow.